New York City Mayor Mamdani is making good on his promise for Soviet-style city-run grocery stores. Our very own Madison Allworth is live at a key food grocery store in Harlem, New York, with the details. Tell us about it. It's a sad story, Madison.
Yeah, David, it is, especially for owners behind grocery stores like this one who say they're not going to be able to operate and stay open once these city-run stores are operational. So Ruben Luna, who is the owner of this location, moved to the U.S. when he was 14. His first job that he got that year was in a grocery store. Now he owns 18 supermarkets, the American dream. 3 of them are here in Harlem, all very close to La Marqueta. That is the first location that Mayor Mamdani announced. Luna says that once it opens, he anticipates losing 30 to 40% of his customers because he cannot compete with a nationalized grocery store, which doesn't have to pay property taxes or utilities and has access to his hard-earned tax dollars.
No way. There's no way we can be open. If I lose 30%, I'm in trouble. I won't be able to pay the rent. I won't be able to pay the workers. And I don't want to lose the whole thing, whatever it's cost me 45 years working all my life to lose it because, I'm going to be fighting against someone who is spending our own money.
And the mayor is asking for a lot of money. He's proposing $70 million for 5 grocery stores. The one here in Harlem has a price tag of $30 million. Luna and a group of minority-owned grocery store owners have been trying to meet with the mayor, but have had no luck. That will change next week during a hearing in front of the city council. They decide if the mayor's proposal gets the green light. Some business representatives met with the speaker of the city council yesterday, and they tell us they're hopeful about how that hearing will go. They said they got a lot of support from her, which is promising, but we know that Mamdani has said from the beginning of his campaign that city-run grocery stores were a priority, and now it could become a reality, much to the chagrin of grocery store owners like this one right here.
It is nothing short of a tragedy, in my opinion. Madison Allworth, thank you so much. Appreciate it. For more on this, let's bring in Caroline Downey, National Review columnist, and Deroy Murdock, Fox News contributor. Gang, great to see you. Thank you so much. Deroy, it infuriates me because this guy, it's a rags to riches story, and Marxists like Mamdani hate rags to riches story because under his Marxist ideology, it's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to be able to make money in a private market system unless you're oppressing people. Instead, he's been employing people, he's been serving the community, and of course, he's been growing an American business in a very positive way. This could kill that business.
It could, and you're right about Mamdani not liking this sort of thing. This violates the narrative. This is an oppressive guy, and he's robbing from people, and he's ripping people off. Here's a guy, as we saw earlier in the package introducing this story, came in, got his first job in a grocery store, now owns 18 of them. This is magnificent. This guy should be getting the keys to the city rather than having this competition pop up. I think Mamdani could be helpful if he said, listen, if you want to start a grocery store, take over a piece of property that's empty, and we don't have to pay any property tax for the first 3-4 years, something like that. You'd see private entrepreneurs step up. These grocery stores would open, there'd be more options, and people who are in places that don't have a lot of fresh food would have more access to it. That would be productive versus what he's trying to do, which I think would be very destructive.
And Caroline, we know that these experiments in a free market economy, first of all, of course they don't succeed in socialist economies and communist economies, but they don't have a choice. They have to do it. They're serfs of a slave nation. That's why those things, even there you have these long lines, but here it hasn't worked at all as well. So it has a 0 positive track record.
Yeah, it was attempted in a place called Baldwin, Florida, and it shut down quickly after launching because it failed to break even. Imagine that. But David, this whole government...
Even with all the subsidies, we got to say, because
Correct.
It's totally subsidized by taxpayers.
100%. But this whole idea, government-run grocery stores, was predicated on the other idea that groceries are unaffordable in New York City. But Mayor Mamdani, he started this with pretty reckless rhetoric, very incorrect, making grocery stores that are private the boogeyman, saying, oh, they're robbing customers blind and they're getting away with theft. They have on average a 3% profit margin. They are not stealing from people. They're barely making it as it is. And he also misdiagnoses how to bring prices down. You really want to bring them down? You introduce competition and you increase supply. You do not dump taxpayer dollars on a government-run grocery store that will inevitably be plagued with inefficiency, lines around the corner, crowding out small businesses. I have an idea, piggybacking off of Deroy, let Walmart operate in the 5 boroughs. That way, they will be cheap commodities.
Walmart is the enemy as well. But the point is, 40 years this guy took up to build the business, and it could be destroyed within the next couple of years as a result of this. I want to move to Capitol Hill because you had a piece talking about the Save America Act, saying that it should be stapled to everything that the House sends to the Senate. Explain your case.
Yeah, look, what the House should do is attach the Save America Act to everything they send to the Senate, whether it's the defense budget or if it's National Peach Month. And then at that point, the Senate either can decide, all right, we've seen this 18 times, we're finally going to vote for it, or the Democrats each and every time will have to introduce an amendment to remove it. And at that point, they'll have to stand up again and again and again and say to the American people, we're opposed to photo ID at the polls. We want the voter rolls to stay dirty. We want foreign citizens to vote in our elections. We don't want any check as to whether people are U.S. citizens or not. And if the Democrats want to get up and make that case again and again and again, great. And
but why hasn't that happened so far? I mean, the Republicans have had the House, the Senate, and the White House, and they haven't done. They should have done. This is an 80 or 90 to 10% issue.
Yeah, I mean, the least popular thing in there is the Democrats who want photo ID by about 60%. Support from there goes even higher. So they should be pushing for this. I don't know what the Senate GOP is just weak, scared, they're terrified. I'm not sure of what.
Caroline, you're nodding yes.
Well, yeah, I'd say there obviously are some old school conservatives in Congress still. They're claiming to be that.
But old school means you have to like losing stuff to the Democrats? That's not old school, that's stupid.
No, I agree that's the right way to interpret it, but in their minds, they think federalizing elections of any kind is a slippery slope because Democrats can use that as a weapon if the shoe's on the other foot. That being said, the states have no incentive, including the blue states right now, to make sure that their voter rolls don't include dead people, don't include people who are not supposed to be voting, who are ineligible. So yeah, I think the federal government needs to put the pressure on to get that done because otherwise there's no integrity, we have no trust, and I think the MAGA base clearly demands this for a reason.
And Deroy, you say, you ask, why are Republicans so gung-ho about keeping our elections easy to steal? That's the question that Republicans could ask Democrats.
Yeah.
Why are they so anxious to make things easy to steal?
Absolutely correct.
It just doesn't make sense.
And the DOJ, by the way, found in just 4 states 260,000 dead people on the voter rolls.
Unbelievable.
Huge problem.
Caroline Downey, Deroy Murdock, great to see you both. Thank you for being here.